right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, the latest couple of physique updates from Ramon Dino. So first, just a few minutes ago, Brazilian coach Fabricio Pacholic just posted this picture of Ramon where he looks absolutely insane. And again, you know, when you talk about guys being able to make weight for classic physique, Ramon is one of the guys that I'm always surprised is able to. When you look at how just muscular he looks in updates like this. These are the type of things where I think about not only Mike going to 212, but a guy like Ramon talking about making a shot at open one day. These are the type of updates where I think Ramon would do really well as an open bodybuilder. He just, size-wise, it's incredible how big he is. But I think the thing about Ramon is that he has this taller frame to carry that muscle on, and that's why I think Ramon looks a little bit more classic than a guy like Mike does, because of the way that he carries that size, it just looks different on his frame and with his structure. Now, the other update that we got from Ramon is apparently taken, from what I understand, a couple weeks out from the Olympia, so not like this week or anything, but I think it was after he arrived in Vegas, from what I understand, and we really haven't seen a full-body physique update from Ramon at all these last couple weeks. We've seen a lot from Rough Diesel, Mike Sommerfeld, but Ramon seems like the main guy that's really been keeping things under wraps. And from what I understand, this was an exclusive. This photo was an exclusive photo sent to what apparently is a global sports platform, I guess. It's called Globo Esporte, and I guess it's a really big deal that Ramon was featured on this platform. It's like a really big international, like multi-sport media thing. And this was a physique update sent exclusively to them at a couple weeks out from the Olympia. It looks like he's in Vegas from the background. It looks like he's in one of those posing rooms that we've seen several of the guys take their physique updates in front of. And you can tell because he's got his beard shaven, and I don't think he shaved his beard until he arrived in the States. But I will say this, seeing an update like this of Ramon makes me a lot more comfortable in me predicting Ramon to win. Just the combination of size, condition, and then, again, his structure. He's going to be the biggest, tallest guy, unless Logan is in the top three. But of that top three conversation that I think most people are talking about, even top four, if you maybe include Breon in that, but Mike, Breon, Terrence, Ramon is the tallest, biggest, structurally like the most, I guess you could say, imposing of those physiques. And from this update, he looks like he's in incredible shape. I think we are in store for a hell of a show. Prejudging for Classic Physique is tomorrow, by the way. Then tonight you have the finals for 212, and then you also have the prejudging for Men's Open Bodybuilding, which they said they're going to do that earlier than usual, so it might not be, well, it shouldn't be, the very end of the show. So we're probably in store for a pretty late night tonight because it's not going to start until 9 p.m. Eastern time. So I would imagine it's going to go past midnight again. But then also Mike Sommerfeld with a couple new story posts on Instagram. And I thought this was pretty interesting. So Mike Sommerfeld posted essentially saying that he believes that drastic weight cut that he had to do to make weight was actually a positive thing. And it led him to now being in the best condition of his life, or the best condition that he's ever seen himself in, were his own words in that post. And so he wrote on one of them, "This is my new best. I never thought that extra weight cut would give me the extra wow." And then in the video that followed, he put the caption, "We followed the judges' feedback. We worked hard to create the most complete classic physique." And again, he says, when he looks at himself, this is the most conditioned he's ever seen himself, and he thinks it's as a result of that weight cut. So my question for you guys is, what do you guys think on the drastic last-minute 14-pound weight cut for Mike to make a new light weight of 204, weighing in at 202, a full 10 pounds lighter than his last year weigh-in weight of 212? Do you think that, as Mike says, this is going to lead to his best ever condition and best ever look on stage? Or do you think the opposite, which is what we've seen so far? We haven't really seen a drastic, unexpected weight cut really benefit anybody. Like, again, the Terrence Ruffin example, I keep bringing this up, but I think it is a really good example, and I think it's the most applicable example because almost exactly what happened to Mike, except Terrence's was a little bit more last minute. But it actually kind of completely threw off Terrence's condition, and it led him from dropping from second place to sixth. So I think that's a really good comparative example. But could the other thing be true, that this could lead Mike to being in the best shape of his life? I think with the stress from everything on social media and combine that with the stress of the weight cut, I would be more inclined to believe that it's going to leave him with a worse look than last year. But this does seem to be his motto this year, the pressure creates diamonds thing. He's like selling shirts with that on the logo. Could all of this pressure and all this stress and all this like last minute headache, hard work, could it lead to him bringing his best ever to prove everybody wrong? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below.
Arnold Arcade. Blast physiques with aggressive lasers. Unleash your arsenal of flash and trash. Armed with fog machines, lasers, and an endless thirst for attention. Stack power in Flextress. Chase glory in chasing gains. Play solo. Team up with a friend or battle online. And best of all, like the live stream, it's all free. Arnold Arcade. Download yours today.
Now, today's video is sponsored by the Arnold Sports Festival, the official sponsor of all my Olympia coverage this year, and they just launched something awesome, the Arnold Arcade, which is now live and linked in the description below, arnoldsports.com/arcade. You can play games for free, no strings attached, but if you want to win, you've got to sign up with your email. Now, here's where this benefits you guys. You don't have to pay for anything, you don't have to buy anything, but if you sign up to celebrate, we're giving away 2 sets of platinum tickets to the Arnold Classic, one chosen at random, and the other one for having the highest score on hard mode of the game in the app Aggressive Laser. Each winner gets 2 coach domestic flights, so they're going to fly you to the Arnold, a 2-night stay in Columbus, VIP access to Strongman and the Expo, a backstage tour with Executive Director Brian Powers, and you'll get to meet me at the show. In addition to that, they're giving away 10 ultimate merchandise packages loaded with Arnold Sports gear. So hit up the arnoldsports.com/arcade. The contest ends this Sunday at midnight. So play the game this weekend for your chance to win, and I will see you at the Arnold. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the 212 Olympia prejudging. So there wasn't the greatest lighting or view from the live stream. So I went through Instagram, I found some more pictures, and now I've got a new video, this one from TFE Media on Instagram. So shout out to TFE Media. This, to me, was the clearest view of those top 2 guys, Keone Pearson and Sean Clarita. Now, there's a lot of talk about this 212 prejudging right now because everybody was expecting, based on the updates that we saw from Keone going into the show, that Keone was going to come in here and dominate, and it was going to be lights out, game over, Keone wins. But there's a couple of things that a lot of people noticed. Number one, Keone's midsection seems to be a really big talking point. And I agree. I think his midsection was spilling out in several of the poses. If you watch through this video, it looks good in the front double bicep. He has that crazy look to his waist, crazy V-taper that he always has in the front double. It looks good front relaxed, front lat spread. But notice in the abs and thighs and in the transitions, you see it kind of spilling over a little bit. And Keone, to be fair, has always had kind of this separation in the center of his abs. It kind of looks like the abs are separating from that center line. It's kind of always been that way, but it does look this year like it's more noticeable and maybe getting worse. So I definitely acknowledge that. I still think that on the merit of Keone coming in bigger, and in my opinion, having a better structure than Sean and being bigger than Sean, those 2 things might outweigh the condition if Keone comes in sharper at the finals. I still think Keone will win this, but I think he has to come in sharper at the finals because he's got the size on Clarita. He's got shape better than Clarita's. If he can just bring that conditioning up a notch for finals, I think he still wins it. And I think the best example of this, they showed a great comparison of Keone last year in 2024 at the Olympia versus Keone this year in 2025. And you can see a clear difference in size. Keone is definitely bigger this year. He was 12 pounds heavier than he was at the weigh-ins last year. So significantly bigger, and I think that's reflected in his physique. But I think the most noticeable thing, especially if you look at the back shots, is he's softer from the back without a doubt, particularly in the lower body, the glutes and hamstrings. I think are noticeably softer this year. And even the upper back looks a little bit less detailed, but I think it's mostly noticeable in the lower body, specifically in the glutes and hamstrings. You're seeing a lot less detail this year, but did he compensate for that with the size that he brought? So I guess the question for you guys is, did the added size that seems to have sacrificed some condition, will the added size be enough to still give Keone the edge to win? I think if he comes in sharper for the finals, he will. But honestly, I do think that if he does not come in sharper at the finals, that right now Keone is in trouble, and Sean Clarita does have a real shot at winning back that title. I will say that. I think that, frankly, this is a conversation not many of us thought we would be having about Keone after prejudging, given the updates that we saw from him going into the show. But I think if we're being honest, Keone left the door open a little bit here. He did come in bigger. That seemed to be his goal. But he did sacrifice his condition, and it looks like let the midsection go a little bit. So I think a lot of us, myself included, are pretty surprised that we're having this conversation. But as big of a fan and friend of Keone's that I am, I've got to admit, he left the door open here. I'm not sure that he's going to win this. And I think the question probably is, at this point, it's not whether he left the door open or not. It's how much did he leave it open? Did he leave it open enough for a guy like Sean Clarita to sneak back in there and win? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to touch on a couple guys that I think that I might still be sleeping on. Again, Regan Grimes. Regan Grimes, all the updates that I've seen from him this week, he looks incredible. And again, I don't have him in my top 10 predictions. He's a guy that I think, like, looking at these updates, has a real chance at proving me wrong. He looks phenomenal on Instagram. But again, take the Keone Pearson example. Those updates from Keone, he looked like he couldn't lose any show on Instagram. And this has kind of been the case with Regan in the past. So even though I think Regan looks to be at his all-time best in these updates, it is Instagram. It is just online, and it's going to be different on stage. So I'm still hesitant to say that Regan is going to do some real damage here. But if these pictures and videos translate to the stage, I think Regan could be top 10. I'm just still hesitant to say it because we've had this happen with Regan before where he looks incredible on social media and then it just doesn't translate to the stage. But if this look does translate to the stage, I can certainly see him on the top 10. And when I look at these updates, I do feel like I'm sleeping on him. So I want to make sure I point that out and show these updates. And then also Jordan Hutchinson. Jordan has been posting some really impressive updates. We saw him win both the Texas Pro and the Tampa Pro, beating Quint Beastwood back-to-back this year. And Jordan is a guy that I think could be really dangerous in a lineup like this. If people come in off the condition that Jordan brought to both of those shows, just head-to-toe peeled, very dangerous lower body, great legs. And again, I'll say maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing structure, but he's got size, and he's been pretty consistently conditioned. He looks peeled out of his mind in these updates. This is a guy that can catch people that come in off. And every year at the Olympia, there's a handful of people that come in off every year without fail. And those are the guys that I think Jordan can catch. And for example, I like Jordan's physique better than Neckzilla's at this point. I think that Neckzilla has a ton of hype going into the Olympia. I think Jordan can be a guy that beats somebody like Rubiel. He can beat some bigger names like that are probably going to come in off, and I think maybe we're sleeping on him a little bit. Top 10, I'm not sure, but I certainly don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. And the final guy that I think we could be sleeping on, Brett Wilkin. And Brett Wilkin is dangerous for the same reason that I think Urs is dangerous. Brett has a very aesthetically pleasing physique for an open guy, and he comes in relative good condition. And like the same reason that I say Jordan, but Jordan I think has better condition than we've seen from Brett so far. If some of these guys come in off and they look soft or their condition is lacking or maybe they have a protruding midsection, it's a guy like Brett or a guy like Urs that can sneak up in there and place in those higher spots. But when it comes to Regan, Brett, Jordan, and Urs is still the guy that I feel the most comfortable in saying would place top 10. I really do think Urs is going to crack that top 10, but I just want to make sure that I make a point to point out some of these guys that could crack the top 10 that I might be sleeping on. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.